Of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I would like to say welcome to Farm Day, and where'd the cowbell go? We're going to kick it off with the cowbell. Go!
All right, girls, thank you.
Oh, I thought I was wearing it. Yes, you didn't know what happened.
Like these over here?
Lived through 27 winters. Yeah, but tree rings can tell you a really cool story. So, this is actually a sugar pine. This is the biggest pine we grow in California. This is the cone to the sugar pine, the biggest pine cone we have in California. But this tree was not very happy. Does everybody see how tiny those lines are? Does that mean this tree was getting all the sunlight and water that it wanted? No. When they have tiny lines, that means that they were not very happy. Maybe they're too close to their neighbors. They don't have like what we like to call elbow room, so that trees can grow nice and big. So tree rings can tell you a lot. If the rings are small and tight, that means it wasn't getting water, sunlight, space it needed, maybe not the right soil, things like that. But if it's got nice big rings like this, it means it's a very happy tree. If you guys actually want to get up now and you can take a look at some of these other cones I've got on the table, you're welcome to pass them around and handle them. They're not sticky or sharp or anything, but you can tell your trees apart easier by the cones than anything else. So you guys can see all these different cones going on.
When you know you have a show note.
And our straw is bent. We have some water up here in the top, and we're going to use that siphon. Imagine that as a big giant tank. We're going to use that siphon to fill up our bottle. And so the way it works basically is the air pressure is what's causing the water to flow from up here to down here, And what do you think is going to happen here in just a second?
We can drink it.
No, we're not going to drink it.
Oh, dang it.
But it doesn't overflow, did it?
No,
Did you see that? No, it has nothing to do with the machine. It has to do with the siphon.
I have Get set, go! Shoot your team on, guys! Get me!
Wiggly worms with compost cravings, Christmas tree needles and yellow pine shavings, and zinnia heads from flower beds whose blooming days are through. Just add it all to the pot and let it all rot into what? Compost stew. What do you guys? This is the rump, so this is like basically the bottom. This stifle right here, the barrel and the ribs, the shoulder, the neck, and then actually goats have rectangular pupils, unlike eyes, kind of like how we have.
There's a lot of different things you can make out of the alpaca fiber. This is yarn. Someone made yarn out of a combination of the two different alpacas. This is a scarf that was made out of alpaca. And you can feel, again, you got the really soft feel on it.
If you're over here, you're gonna go with Max and talk about Latte, the market goat. And then if we have some time afterwards, you guys, we're gonna be able to switch the goats. And then you're gonna be able to spend the time with the babies too. Alright guys, so each of you get a brush. So we only have 3 brushes, so y'all win. So I actually only have 1 brush right now, and you guys are gonna pass it around. And 1 second. And then I'm going to find my other brush. There it is. Okay. Now you know, here is my other brush that you guys are gonna pass around, and you're gonna get to pet and groom Dazzle. Go. Do any of you have any goats or any other pets at home?
Yep, I have 2 dogs.
Nice.
I have a dog.
Do you want him?
Said their mom.
Beekeeping club. We have beehives all over the El Dorado County. What's so important about bees? They provide honey for us. What else? What's that? With the fruit, yes. Yeah, so the bees are flying from flower to flower and moving. They get the fruit that you guys eat. It happens from a flower, right? All sorts of black bees. We have 1,600 different bees. You guys get up and tell us.
Oh, I like it. So what is that? The rule is when you evolve one of your decks, you come on and you make it, you turn it over. With the spirit link attached to it. Jack, there's so much honey over here. Jack, look at that.
Wow, really? Can you find a queen bee?
Hey, you got it.
Do you guys have any questions?
That's a queen bee. Person.
How smart are bats? We don't have time to split it. Alright, how smart do you think bats are? Yes, Olivia. Really smart? Yes, they are exceptionally smart. Scientists are able to train bats just like a porpoise or a dog. They are pretty good at learning how to do things. Most bats are actually pretty good at coming when called. And like, there are some bats. Oh yes, okay, so there are some bats, the vampire bats, that are actually very tame. And they're... Do you have any ideas? Oh, you guys got that. Do you guys have any ideas of what I like that? How many of you guys want to see your teacher? That's where the chicken would be.
Wait, there's a chicken.
See the little white spot? That's where the chicken would be. If it...
Yeah, this is what we call the reforestation stop. My name is Mark Egbert, and I'm with the Resource Conservation District, and I work in Placerville.
And what I do is I grow trees.
Plants that we don't want, those particles might get filtered out by the as the water is traveling as groundwater. That water is evaporated, it's accumulating in the atmosphere, it starts to condense, it changes back from a water vapor into liquid water, and then it falls to the earth.
So yeah, they put it in this. So what they do is they load up the container and they fly over the fields and drop it just like that. You see the pesticides going into the fields? This is from the plane. Everyone see that? So the plane flies over your field, and as you can see in this, right here, this is the pesticides coming out of the compartment. So it drops from the sky and down onto your field, right? So when you have a giant operation, you have hundreds and hundreds of acres on your field. How many people know how big an acre is? Yeah, really big, right? So think of 100 acres, 500 acres. Think of that. How big is that, right?
Of course.
Do you think farmers have time to walk on all their crops and spray pesticides so they don't get eaten? No, so these planes do that.
And this right here is LeBron. And this is Wizard, yes. And this is Toronto. So we're going to be talking about guide dogs. So we are guide dog puppy raisers and puppy sitters. So what we do is that we train these dogs so then they can be as awesome as they can be when they go back and do their formal training. There. So the thing is, if I was able to go far away and I was able to back up, LeBron will stay there even though how far away I am. So the thing is, why would we want to teach the dogs how to do this?
Oh, cool!
Drones are the boy bees. The boy bees are big fat bees. Those are the boys. They don't have stingers. In fact, when my boys were your age, they used to go into the hives and they would take some drones out and they would drop them, scare their friends with them. They don't have stingers. Another kind. Yeah. The queen bee. The queen, a lot of people think that the queen bee is like the ruler and she tells all the other bees what to do and all that. That's not really true. She's just another bee. She has a job. And her job is to lay eggs. There is one other type of bee in the hive. Yeah. The worker. Workers are the bees that you see. Those are the bees that go outside. All workers are female.
I think we can probably get a restroom on the right as well.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks for coming by, guys.
Recording of what? One of the calls? They're all on there. It's just it's a really long recording. Yeah.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye. Thank you. Get out of here!
Watch Christian. Wait, no, back up. Stay back there. It can squirt all the way past your teachers. Okay, do we have one person? I'll take a couple. What is your name with tie-dye shirt? Me?
They're all tie-dye.
A lot of them are. Ryan, come to the left side over here.
Okay.
Allie, you're in charge of grain.
Okay.
All right, give me your right hand. Put your right hand on her teeth. Now, don't squirt my shoes.
I won't.
Okay, squirt into the bowl. Keep trying. Well, actually, you're on this side. Just wait.
Today, Channel 2 is at the Dorado County Fairgrounds for Farm Day. And it's a Chamber of Commerce day. There's not a cloud, there's a little cloud up there, but I mean, it's been an amazing day. That's the first superlative we'll use. I'm with Ann Wolford and Brittany Patterson, and they kind of put this thing together with a bunch of volunteers. We heard some really interesting numbers earlier on when they did their welcome and the Pledge of Allegiance and everything, that I believe it's 18 years ago this thing started. 100 kids and a handful of presenters, I guess you call them, and today was 1,400 kids, 62 different spots, 200 volunteers, and all kinds of happy third graders from all over El Dorado County. And you're the executive director of Ag in the Classroom. Tell me how this thing gets going and where you resource all this help.
So we start planning for this usually, I would say, in March. And Brittany is the impetus behind that. She sends out the task list to everyone right off the bat, schedules a meeting, and most of the volunteers who are instrumental to making this happen have been here for many years, some the entire 18 years that it's been going on. They have their job list down, they know when to do things and how to make it happen. It's like Gary said, there is no way we could do this without the volunteers, and they are the instrumental driving force behind this.
Brittany, it's been almost scary smooth. I mean, that's got to be a test. Well, okay, from what we can see, but no, it's a testament, I think, to the organization that you guys have put together, and to the volunteers. Obviously, a lot of them, I agree with you, Ann, look like they've been here before. It isn't their first rodeo, no pun intended. So, how does this come about? And you go out and you talk to these people. What keeps them coming back?
What we hear most from our presenters and volunteers is they love seeing the faces on the kids when they learn something new. They almost get addicted to that feeling of, I helped with that aha moment. And they may be teaching kids about where milk comes from and where French fries come from and things that are so important in our lives that we take for granted as adults. We know where all our food, most of our food comes from, of course. And that's what our volunteers tell us is the kids keep them coming back.
Why third graders?
Because one of the things that is part of their curriculum is their community and the nature around them. And that is why we target third graders for this.
And how do you go about the different types of presenters? I mean, we've seen everything from bats to bees to huge log lifting equipment and a log truck and a portable sawmill and welding and all kinds of stuff. How do you go about figuring out what the kids will really get something out of?
Well, today it's with agriculture. Everything is so broad within agriculture. You need those skills from welding to some of those other skill sets you've seen here today. And it goes all the way from farm to table. It goes all the way to the food and nutrition side of things. And we have our forestry demonstration, which a lot of people forget is agriculture. And so we, as organizers, we try to reach out to a broad spectrum of those people, try to hit every topic. We like to see some of those more unique topics, like the bats you were saying, the pollinators. And then we also have the more expected presentations, the farm animals with the cows and the horses and the goats. So everybody.
62 some odd stations that the kids all visited. What do you think they enjoy the most?
You know what? I'm always surprised at something that pops up. Obviously, the farm animals are always a big hit. But today, when I was walking around during lunch asking the kids what their favorite stations were, I was hearing things that were diverse as the vermiculture, the worm composting. I mean, they got into it. There's the forestry section is also doing animal skulls, and they loved the animal skulls. So things that are don't necessarily leap to your mind as agriculture are something that tangentially the kids understand that is part of their life, and they love it.
Brittany, did you ask any of the kids what their favorite was, and what kind of response did you get?
I have heard, of course, the kids that I talked to were in the animal barn at the time, and so a little girl told me horses were her favorite thing.
You know, it's like I say, it's a Chamber of Commerce Day, and this is 18 years in for this thing. And I kind of think that I see the anticipation and the excitement in you two ladies that this is going to keep on going for a long time. I mean, if you look at the growth over 18 years, I'm not very good at math, but that's a ton of multiplying stuff, I think, don't you? and I'm glad you said something about the skulls, because I walked by there and the guy says, "You scare me with that camera." I looked at the table, I said, "You don't think those scare me?" They are animal skulls, and I'm not sure. We're going to go down there and visit that, Mike, but you know, why is that and what part of it? But it seems that there is such a well-rounded presentation, Brittany. How did that come about?
We, as far as the presentation, so with presentations, we just make sure to try to hit every different aspect of agriculture. We like to hit all the topics and think of, like you said, the things that don't always come to mind with agriculture.
One of the things that's neat is now we have people coming to us and saying we want to be presenters. And maybe not necessarily something that wasn't at the top of our brain, but if that was our aha moment, let's get that presenter in there, because they're offering something very exciting and new.
That's kind of scary, because I was just going to ask that question if the public had input into what to show, and I kind of get from the different vendors or different presenters I went by and saw, and Mike the camera guy did, and Marilyn our other camera person, is the presenters are getting a lot out of this. I mean, I think they're feeding off the energy of the kids and all of this. Again, all schools, almost every school in El Dorado County, is that right?
Almost. I haven't run the statistics on the percentile or percentage, but we do have almost all the schools in El Dorado County.
I know Lake Tahoe was down here because they got here almost. The lady that was talking about it said, "You're almost tardy." So I guess we can't get rid of school when we're down at something like this. But, you know, it's amazing. 1,400 kids. They've been well behaved. Much credit to the teachers and the chaperones. And, again, the organization that you folks have put together. So let's make a date for next year for Farm Day at El Dorado County Fairgrounds. This isn't the only one. So tell me about it, Brittany.
So we do have another farm day in South Lake Tahoe in the fall. Usually it falls in about mid-September. We try to hit those schools that are in the Lake Tahoe Basin that can't always make it over the summit to our Placerville Farm Day. And we try to bring this experience to all those children in the Lake Tahoe Basin who really don't see a lot of agriculture as we see it, with the large farm animals, the agriculture, farming, food, those things.
So, relatively speaking, how much of a turnout do you anticipate up at Lake Tahoe?
So we usually get around 350 students. So I would say overall, this Farm Day program touches between 1,700 and 1,800 students in El Dorado County, which is pretty incredible when you times that by the 18 years we've done it here, and by this will be our 6th year in South Lake Tahoe. There are a lot of students who are learning something in a really fun way.
Let me ask a crazy question. Maybe it's something you can't answer. Have you ever had any students that came to this since you're 18 years in? There's obviously a few of these kids are not kids anymore. Have you ever had anybody come that said, "You know what, back in the day, I came to this thing, and because of that, I'm now involved with forestry or agriculture"? Has that ever happened to either one of you?
Yes, actually, we have some presenters here today that were third graders coming through the program, and now they are teaching our third graders as college students now.
How cool is that? How cool is that? So Lake Tahoe, you don't think of that, except for the forestry thing, you don't think of that too much in an agricultural sense. So what is displayed up there that would be different than this?
That's one of our challenges. If you were to ask me what our biggest challenge with this is, I would say it's figuring out how to bring an expanded farm experience to our South Lake Tahoe students, because forestry is so big up there, and it's a ways to haul large farm animals. So working a way to make them as engaged with animals and the different facets of farming that are not necessarily timber related is that is our challenge, but we are working through that in a big way.
And that said, it is El Dorado County, so I mean, obviously the broad stroke is if it's agriculture in El Dorado County, it belongs up there as well as it does here. But in the same token, it's wonderful to see that kids are getting exposed to something. Marilyn, one of our videographers, was saying that there was a bunch of kids looking at eggs like they'd never seen them before. And I mean, the wonder, you got to see this kind of thing through a child's eyes, and it's amazing. It opens up my eyes, your eyes, because it's just amazing to see the enthusiasm, because a lot of the stuff these kids see, they've never seen before. Is that right?
Right, that is true. A lot of them, especially our Western schools, have not seen large animals in this capacity before.
Well, again, we're at the El Dorado County Fairgrounds, and Channel 2 has had a great time. Mike's with us, Marilyn's with us. Ladies, thank you again for your time. And I think we just might travel up the hill with you in September.
We would love to have you.
I'm looking forward to it. Thank you so much, ladies, and congratulations on a great event.